Look at Alex Morgan's career. What not listed on this graphic, Alex Morgan on a first-name basis with Taylor Swift. Now that, folks is impressive. All right, Herculez Gomez, if the U.S. win the World Cup, and we're going out on a limb, if the U.S. win the World Cup, what does that do for Alex Morgan's case as the greatest of all time among American players?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's a reality, Seb. Seb, remind me again, how many of the players in the U.S. women's national team have an opportunity to win 3 World Cups if they win this World Cup?
5. There would be 5. Alex Morgan among
5.
them, Megan Rapinoe, okay. Kelly O'Hara, Alyssa Nair, and Julie Ertz. Now, not all 5 of those played a major role in all 3 as Alex Morgan did, huh?
Correct. So, remind me again, on this very program, we did a Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. This very program, we did a Mount Rushmore of the U.S. women's national team. Was Alex Morgan in your Mount Rushmore?
She was not. No. At the time, she was not in my Mount Rushmore.
She was not. Okay.
Correct.
She was not. Now, remind me again. Mia Hamm, who at one point held the all-time leading goal scorer, 158 goals, I believe, 2-time Player of the Year, won her own World Cups, by the way, and I believe still to this day holds the assist record for U.S. women's national team. She may have a case for that, right? What about Michelle Akers, who has like a record 10 goals in World Cups in one edition, 2-time? I'm sorry, no, FIFA Women's Century Player of the Year. I mean, will she have a case? Yes, absolutely. Alex Morgan is one of the best players that's ever played for the U.S. women's national team. Absolutely. Hands down. The face of U.S. soccer on the women's side today. I'd probably could arguably say she's the biggest face for just in general for U.S. soccer. But she's not going to go down in GOAT category if she wins a 3rd World Cup. No.
Boy, I think you got to put her and Megan Rapinoe at the GOAT table if they win this World Cup, because they have 3.
You didn't put them in your Mount Rushmore.
Well, that was because they didn't have 3 at that point. We're talking about a future where these players have 3 World Cups, something none of the other players that you've talked about here have, right?
And the only 5 other players will have.
The only person right now with 3 World Cups is Pelé, right? So you're joining elite company if you can get 3 World Cups. And there is a difference for me between an Alex Morgan, a Megan Rapinoe, and maybe somebody like an Alyssa Nair, who would then have 3, but didn't have the major role. Look, if you are at the GOAT table, Herc, and you have a differentiator from players like Akers, Hamm, who have the 2 titles, or Wambach, who only has 1, or Lloyd, who has 2, but one of which you could argue she's not a major player in, right? If you're a major player in 3 World Cup titles, at a time when the women's game is, as we're hearing, the most competitive it's ever been, you got a real strong case for GOAT, Herc. I'm sorry. You can't deny that.
Hold on. The GOAT table's a bistro table. It's for 2. Does she make that table?
How come it's a bistro table all of a sudden? How come you get to decide where the cutoff is at?
Sub, yes or no, does she make your 2? If she doesn't make your 2, then don't talk about GOAT, because that is 1.
If she wins 3, she makes it, yes. Yeah, if you win 3, you're at my bistro.
Who's out? Michelle Akers
table.
or Mia Hamm? Who's out? Michelle Akers or Mia Hamm?
We go Akers Morgan. Bop. We go the beginning and the end. Okay? That's what we go if we have to go. If she wins 3. If she wins 3. Because I will tell you what, Herc. I will tell you what. Mia Hamm, of course, an incredible player, but so much of what we think of her legacy is the crossover impact, right? Mia Hamm was the first superstar of the women's game. I know it doesn't feel like it because the women's game is.
Think of Alex Morgan's legacy as well?
I think Mia Hamm popularized the women's game in a way that Alex Morgan will never get credit for being kind of the first. But I think it's important to note, and I'll say this as somebody.
She's got her own Barbie.
There you go. I mean, that's major. But as somebody who covered the National Women's Soccer League when there weren't 3 games a weekend with 20,000 folks in the stands, and you were talking about attendances of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. When Alex Morgan would roll into town, any town, they would get their biggest attendance. And so she's not only going to, again, if they win, have 3 World Cup titles, she will check every single box that you could possibly check from a marketing crossover standpoint. I don't think you can downplay what 3 World Cups back-to-back with Alex Morgan would have on the future. If you think Mia Hamm had a huge impact on 20 years, what are the next 20 years going to look like?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has Alex Morgan ever been World Player of the Year?
I mean, World Player of the Year, come on. That's a popularity contest. Marta
you
won
are,
it in
you are
2000.
something, my guy.
Won it in 2018. By the way, you notice how I slipped this in as the American GOAT, because the GOAT in the women's game, Marta, headed to a 6th World Cup.
You
I know
just
she
said
never
she
won
would.
a World
You
Cup.
just said you just. Gee,
But please,
I'm having trouble following you here, Seb.
that's one of those. If you watched, you know. Marta in her prime, never seen anything like it.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.